Hello YouTube, welcome to Curious Me channel. This is Shabazz Khan, and in this video we will look into routing and different ways of routing available in .NET Core. If you don't know what is routing, well, routing is the name of process in which we take the incoming HTTP request and dispatch them to appropriate executable endpoints in our application. Sounds confusing, isn't it? So let's take a look at an example and try to understand via that example. Okay, so now I have opened my application, and if you don't know what is this application, you can download this source code directly from the GitHub, and the link to the GitHub is in the description down below. Now, if you want to know how we have reached till this stage, you can check out the playlist here, and the link to the playlist is also in the description down below. Okay, so let's keep moving. Once our application is open, let's try to navigate. Okay, so I go to blog. I go to privacy. So whenever I go or visit a new page, you can see that our route here, or rather our URL is changing. And based on this specific URL that we are visiting, our content of the page is also changing. Okay, as you can see right now I'm in blog, we get blog. I'm in privacy, I'm getting privacy. I'm in home, I'm getting home view. So this is routing. Simply put, this is routing. Okay, and what we will learn in this video is how this happens inside our .NET Core. Okay, so let's start by actually pinpointing the middleware that is responsible for this specific routing. Now let me minimize this app, and this is the application that we are building. So let me stop this application and let me take you to the place where this routing is all set up and done. So for that, we'll have to go to our startup.cs page. In our previous videos, we have discussed about this. This is our HTTP pipeline. You can check this out in our middleware video, or maybe startup.cs file exploration. In both of those videos, we have covered this. So this app.use routing and app.use endpoints, these two middlewares are responsible for handling your routing in your .NET Core framework. I open this application again, and once the application is running, I come here and I try to navigate to places. So let's pick up this privacy. No, not privacy. Let's pick up this blog and then try to open a post just to read. So this specific URL is what, So this specific URL is being read by our app.use routing middleware. So basically all this use routing sees is this string. Okay, so once it sees this string, what this app.use routing does is it tries to identify the best matching endpoint that is present in our controllers, or the best matching action that can be executed. Let me open them side by side. Okay, so what I'm saying is, when you send in this URL, basically this app.use routing takes this URL and tries to tokenize it. And then once done, it tries to find out what is the best matching action that can be executed against our URL. Okay, that is the only job of this app.use routing. Once that is done, after that, authorization takes place, whether the user is authorized to go to that route or not. Okay, so once this succeeds, the application will come here. And this is where the best matched action, in this case, this get post action, will get executed and you will get the view. So this is how these two middleware synchronize and work together. Now, how will our application know how to tokenize our URL? So basically, the tokenization pattern is also provided by us. So if you have a look at this specific middleware, use endpoints, what we see here is we have defined a pattern right here, which tells our middleware to tokenize our URL like this. So this pattern always starts after the host name. Okay, so host name is nothing but this part. If your site is named mywebsite.com, so https://mywebsite.com is your host name. So after the host name, how do you want to tokenize the URL is basically what we define in this pattern. So if you see here, currently what we are telling is the first part is always controller, and then the second part is action, and the third part, if present, is an ID. So basically what will happen in this case is the controller name selected will be block controller. Okay. And what will be the action that will get selected? Get post. Okay. And what will be the ID? 1. I hope this is clear. So this is how our endpoint will get tokenized because we have defined our pattern here. You can define your own pattern and we'll look further down this video how we can do that also. Okay, so I hope this was clear. Okay, now let's try to understand one more thing. If I click here, my core application, you see there are no controllers and no actions. How is this being handled by our routing? Because we haven't said anywhere, right, that if this is empty, return something. Okay, actually we have done it. So I'll tell you how. So I have increased the size. So basically when we have defined this pattern here, what we have said is if the controller name is missing, okay, if you see that in the URL, the controller name is missing, by default attach this home controller. Okay. And if the action is missing, by default attach this action. So this is what we are saying via these two. Basically this is your default action and default controller. So suppose if I'll send a URL like this, okay, our tokenizer, what it will do is it will convert it to something like this. So our action is missing, sorry, our controller is missing. So it will add a controller, default controller, which we have defined here. Now that default controller is home. You can make it anything you want. You can make it blog, you can make it user, whatever you want. It's completely up to you. Now, as you can see here, our action is also missing, right? So what it will do is it will automatically add the action itself, and then it will create a default action that can be executed when the controller and the action is missing. So now what will happen when I click here, router will target this action. So where is this action? Let's go ahead and see. Now this action is basically home controller and then this index. Okay. So now let us understand this via, now let us try to understand this further. Now, if I open my startup.cs, let me remove this panel, Control B. So if I remove this panel, again, let's just focus on this specific pattern. Okay. Now let me open our application here and look closely what happens when I click on this blog. What do you think is happening here? Basically, there is no action, correct? We haven't provided any action, but we have provided the controller name. So now how will this get tokenized? Let me tell you how that will happen. So basically now what we are sending is localhost 5001/blog. Let me increase the size. Okay. So this is what we are sending. Okay. Now what will happen in our router is, what this will do is it will take the same thing. Okay. And what this will do is, since the action is, so this blog will override the home. Okay. Because the value provided by us will always override the default value. That's simple. Now it will see, oh, the action is missing. So what it will do is it will attach the action and that's it, done. If you are wondering why this ID is not getting added, I'll come back to it. Now what will happen is this action will get executed. So where is this action? If I open this, I go to block controller and then simple, this specific index is getting returned. And what we see is the blog/index. Okay. Now let me open them side by side again. Okay. Let's now discuss why this ID was not getting added. And before that, if you are wondering what this question mark is, basically this question mark makes this, basically this question mark makes this parameter optional. Okay. So basically by adding that specific question mark, we are telling our router that, hey, maybe this ID is present, maybe not, don't worry about it. So this is what we are telling. And that's why whenever our default home or index is added, ID is always not added because this is not at all required and it is always optional. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay, now you have to be very careful when you are defining your route, and please take into consideration what kind of route will be helpful to you or what kind of route will be beneficial for your application. Now this absolutely works for most of our applications and you do not have to change it in any ways. Now if you want something additional, now if you want to target more routes or more patterns in your URL, you can simply add another endpoint. Okay, that is also possible. Now what I'll do is I'll add one more endpoint just to explain it to you how this works. Okay, it's not default, it defaults. Okay, fine. So basically what I have done here is I have explicitly added another endpoint for which I'm saying is, hey, always look for this blog/id and redirect this to sorry, to blog slash not index, but what I want here is get post. Okay, now if I go to my blog controller, I want that specific URL to come here. Okay, so for that I have done the setting. Now to get this blog/id, what we can do is we can simply go to our blog and then to our index. And here, if you remember, what we are doing is we are doing blog/get_post/id. Instead of that, I'll remove this get post so that our route matches /blog/id. So now our route looks like this. Okay, so let's save this, stop and rerun our application. Okay, let's open our application again. Okay, let's refresh this. Let's go to home. This is our home. Now let's go to blog. We are here, blog. Now when I click on read post, you'll see now we are sending data in this format /blog/1. Okay, even though there is no, so even though our default parameter always accepts this action, okay, even though we are not sending it, we have defined another endpoint to handle this kind of route. Now this specific endpoint will redirect our request to this controller, this block controller. This action will get executed with the appropriate ID and will get the result. Okay, I hope that was clear. So similarly, you can add, you can target user with specific ID. Okay, and you can also target author with specific ID. That's up to you. Okay, and the reason why we do this kind of stuff is for aesthetic values. Now what aesthetic values you say? When I'm an end user, I do not want to see this get post, okay, some random action, some huge name of an action. No, I can simply let the user know, hey, you are getting this blog with ID 1, or if you are using reference name, then simply my reference URL can be my first blog. Simple as that. Okay, and the user and the endpoint experience will be better. So this is one of the reasons why we define routes like that also. And you can have as much route as you want here. It's up to you, and it's according to your application and your needs. Okay, so once we are done with this, let's talk about parameters. Okay, so up until now we are only sending this ID, correct? Now what if I want 2, 3, 4, 5 IDs? How can we achieve that? You can simply add the number of parameters that you need. For example, I need name, okay, I need age, okay, and so on. You can add as many as you want and make sure this is not too long. Anyway, so this is how you can add additional parameters. Okay, so basically what we have done here is I have written one more action, and the name of the action is getString. It accepts 2 parameters, ID and name. And based on this ID and name, I'm simply returning a string. It's a very small code so that I can demonstrate this to you. So basically what I'm saying is, hey there, and I'm returning I'm attaching the name that I have received and then sending it back. Okay, so this is ready. Let's go back to our startup page. Now in startup page, we have already defined this kind of route. Now what I want is I want to redirect to not get post, but to get string. So that is the name of our action here, get string. So that's what I have done. Okay, so let's see. Let's stop our application. Let's run this. Let's open our application, and we are currently on home page. What I'll do is I'll simply do blog, And to match our route, I'll pass an ID, which is 1, and then the name Shahbaz. Okay, press enter, and you see here I get, hey there Shahbaz. So this, which means that our endpoint is working perfectly. So this was just to demonstrate that you can add another parameter and you can keep adding as much as you want and as much as the get string length is permitted. Okay, so now let me remove all of these codes. So I'll go to settings and I'll remove this as well. Okay, so I'll keep this because for the rest of the tutorial, I'll keep this. I mean, future videos, I'll keep this because this is aesthetically good. So yeah. Okay, so we have covered all the basics of conventional routing, and that is a wrap for this video. In our next video, we'll discuss attribute routing. So please make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And thank you. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.